We're talking Abington Heights boys basketball here in the Mendola show at Arcaro and Genell, and Coach, doesn't get much better than last year, the best ever a state championship run with your team. Talk about what you guys were able to put together in 2017-18.
You know, we started off, we thought we were going to be a good team, and then after the third game and we lost Trey Kohler, you know, we said we got to pick up the slack, and we picked up two sophomores that never played 1 second of JV or varsity, and we had to start the both of them. So if you told me then would we end up where we ended up, I would have never believed it. But they just got better, and the chemistry was that's what did it for us last year. It was all for one for all, and they knew their spots and they knew what their jobs were to do. And that's what made it so much more a pleasant victory to get it with when you didn't have anything to think about with the 5 guys that you were putting on.
You talk about, you know, talented guys over the years, multiple talented guys on one team, but that chemistry, as you say, and you put it all together and somehow it all works out. The road to the state championship last year and actually playing in the state championship, talk about the little things that mattered for you guys to get over the hump and win some of those tight games there.
Well, there's no doubt one of the biggest breaks, I say, is we got to play a public school in the final, and you'll know what I mean. They only had from their district, we only had for our district, and you have to have some luck along the way. I know one of the teams, the top teams, got upset in the game before ours, and then when we played Monsignor Bonner, the game that went overtime, the game at all the frustration of thinking you won the game, and then you didn't win the game, and then you go overtime. All of those things just made it that much better of a win. But you have to have some luck along the way.
How about the mindset for 2018-19 coming into this season? You feel like you as coaches and the players were pretty hungry?
Yeah, definitely. Once they saw how nice it was and everything, and you know, we have a lot of guys coming back, and but I knew we lost a lot when we lost Ross Danzig. He was like another coach. What he did, not so much the points and everything, he knew all 5 positions where everybody should be. So it was like another coach out there. And if you didn't do something right, he could cover it up and say, take this guy or take that guy. So that was the one thing that I didn't know if we'd get. And so far, well, we haven't needed it. I think a big plus this year was our schedule. I was just looking at it now, and I'm thinking, after last year, we had 7 teams that wouldn't play us this year. So we had to go out and get seven new teams to play. And the 7 teams we got Pocono Mountain West, Wyoming Seminary, Hazelton, Berks Catholic, Emmaus, Pottsville, and Coatesville. And
man, that's a great list of teams.
And I looked at the districts, who's playing what. This is Hazelton, and we played, they're the 6A number 1 seed. We played Scranton Prep. They're the 4A number 1 seed. We played those twice. Wyoming Seminary is a 3A number 1 seed. We played them 1. Pottsville is the 5A number 1 seed out of District 11. We played them. Emmaus is a 6A number 1 seed out of District 11. We played them. Now Coatesville is the 2 seed out of District 1. They're 21-1. Their only loss was to us. So I think, you know, sometimes you're saying, but we just got better and better and better because we played that schedule. And that was one of the keys for this year.
How about the chemistry this year? How's the chemistry looking? Looking as good as it was?
Yeah. I mean, we have more injuries this year than we did. Last year we lost Kohler, a key one. But so far this year, like Jack is still not Jack. He couldn't play in the Valley View game, bad ankle. And in the West Side game, it was 2 games ago, when the trainer came up and said about Perkins, she says, he's done. Done, yeah. Concussion thing, they had to go through all these tests. And when I looked and I saw Tinsley on crutches, I said, we have Scranton and Prep coming up. He's a tough kid. He went to a doctor 3 or 4 times, and they gave him the okay. So if they gave him the okay, we use them. But usually they're just playing in the games. I don't put them in too much in practice because I don't want anything to happen to them. But it turned out all right so far.
There's always a little luck involved, seedings, all that stuff, and the district playoffs are up first, and you can't take anything for granted. So you guys are getting ready to grind that out. Talk about that opportunity for you.
Well, definitely. We're playing, I think we opened up with North Pocono, and I had to remind them, when we played North Pocono, we were in the 4th quarter with single digits. So don't go thinking just because we beat them before that we're going to beat them again. They gave us all we could handle. We had trouble containing them. One of the players had 7 threes, another one had 3 threes. So you can't take anything for granted, because there's been times, what I remind them is how many times we went in a game, we're the underdogs, and we got the upset. It could happen to us. If we did it to somebody else, it could happen to us. So I'm hoping it's sinking in on them, and we'll find out tomorrow night.
As far as the feel of this year's team and the community and everybody, they're on the same page, and when you win something, not that you want to be spoiled, but just the kind of idea like, we got to earn this. We got to go out day after day. We got to practice. You find yourself coaching a little bit more. You kind of still think you and Jeff are doing the same thing.
We're basically doing the same thing, changing things, but I mean, we're still going with the same attitude that you can't take anything for granted, and our student body is great. The other night at Prep, when I saw our principal up there leading cheers, I said, they're all behind us, and that means a lot to the boys.
Well, we look forward to seeing how the playoffs develop this year. Coach, always great to catch up with you. Thank you.
Likewise, John. Thank you.
Harry Johnson joins us from Abington Heights here in the John Mendola Show at Arcaro and Genell. Harry, as a freshman last year, what was the experience like for you?
I mean, it was an interesting experience. We won the state championship, obviously, so that was a great time. It was a bit new because obviously I didn't know a lot of the players on the team prior to this, but they really took me in and made me feel like a part of the team, and I'd say I had a really good experience overall.
Jackson Danzig last year.
Yep.
Talk about him as a leader and what he was able to do.
I mean, he was a great leader. You could tell the team really looked to him for guidance a lot through the trip. Same with George too. He was a great leader and someone to take notes from.
How about fighting for time on the floor this year as a sophomore? You're like, listen, these guys were getting time. Now I want some time. How about?
I mean, I got more time this year than I have last year. I have a role off the bench this year, whereas last year I didn't necessarily play all the time. But yeah, I just look to be a spark off the bench when I get in, and I try to do the most out of my minutes.
You also play soccer, and let's talk about your seriousness about playing that.
I mean, I don't play much during the basketball season. It's more just an off-season sport, but I'm very serious. I've played varsity both freshman and sophomore year for soccer.
Let's talk about your parents as role models, what they do for you, how they inspire you to keep going.
I mean, they're both very hard workers, and they always tell me sometimes if I had an off day or an off game, they always just tell me to keep on going and to keep my head up and just play the best of my ability.
Math and social studies, some of your favorite subjects, a 3.9 grade point average. Talk about how you attack school.
I don't know. I take school just as seriously as I take my sports. I always try to do the best just as I do in sports, and hopefully I can continue to do that.
You guys feel like mentally you're ready for this playoff run?
I think we've got the experience. It's no different than it was last year, and I think riding on from what we used last year, we should be able to do well.
All right, Harry, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Drew Nealon joins us here on the John Mendola Show as we talk about the Abington Heights boys basketball team. Drew, talk about your role on the team this year.
So I come off the bench and help the team out with whatever I can do, whether it's on defensive end or hitting an open shot when I'm open. So just like to help them out, give them a little spark of energy off the bench.
Coach mentioned last year a couple injuries. All of a sudden, a couple guys are in the lineup. You never know when your name's going to be called. Talking about being ready to play, you're kind of like a backup quarterback or however you feel, but you're going to be thrust into a position where you're going to get more minutes immediately.
Yeah, you always have to be ready. You never really know. If someone gets a foul trouble, picks up a couple early, you're thrown right in there. You got to get ready.
Let's talk about your sisters that you have. They're younger than you. I'm sure they look up to you. So talk about your relationship.
They look up to me. They like to, help me out a lot though. Still around the house and stuff with things.
As far as academically, calculus, accounting, a couple subjects you like, a 3.9 grade point average, so you're doing a good job there?
Yeah, I like math a lot, so I think I'm going to do accounting in college.
Parents and grandparents, as far as role models, talk about your relationship with them.
They always get to my games. They're always there. They never miss one. My grandparents, I don't think they've ever missed a game, so that's crazy.
You guys like to head out maybe after a game, talk about just the fun times you're able to spend with each other?
Usually after a game, we'll go for some pizza or something after, so it's a lot of fun.
How about your coaching staff? Talk about those guys. Coach Bianchi, Coach McLean, they do such a great job with the program. What's it like going through like a regular practice with them, or knowing what they expect at this point now that you're a senior?
Yeah, you always know you got to bring it with them. They're always encouraging to you, but they'll always get on you if you make a mistake because they know they just want you to get better and they want to win.
All right, Drew. Well, good luck, okay?
All right, thank you.
Mike Malone here on the John Mendola Show as we talk about the Abington Heights boys basketball team. Let's talk about your role last year, 2017, and what it compares to 2018-19.
Last year I was still like fitting in, I was new to the team, so I didn't have like a big role as I do this year. I was more in there just to rebound and pass the ball around. This year I'm scoring a little bit more and playing better defense, and I feel like I'm helping out the team a little bit better more than I was last year.
Also a football guy, so how much did you dedicate yourself to putting time into football, but trying to put a little time into basketball as well?
I probably put more time into football, but the strength carries over, so that helps. But I do work on basketball as well, so it balances out.
Let's talk about the chemistry. Last year, Coach mentioned, the chemistry was unbelievable, but he said this year we have good chemistry as well. So how do you fit into the chemistry on the court?
Everybody plays their own part, and I just fit in the way that I do. I get the rebounds, I put up missed shots, and that's my part. Everybody has theirs, and we mesh nicely with it.
The buy-in that you have to do with Coach Bianchi, Coach McLean, talk about playing for coaches like that.
Oh, it's awesome. Great coaches. They teach us a lot every day, and it's unbelievable.
Two older brothers, Kevin and Jack, so tell us about your relationship with them, and I'm sure they're there to support you as well.
Yeah, definitely. Growing up, they toughened me up. I'm the youngest, so they helped me out, and I have that little younger brother mentality, so.
That's what you need.
Yeah.
Down the road, you're thinking maybe going to college and playing football?
Yep.
But basketball is pretty darn important to you. Let's talk about your role models, your parents, and how they kind of fuel you up to get you going.
Just teaching me new lessons every day and helping me become who I was today, so it helps a lot.
As far as this playoff run, it's going to be kind of like last year, one game at a time, but now the shoe's on the other foot where you guys are probably going to be the favorite in a lot of these games. As Coach said, he talks to the guys all the time about being, these other teams are going to be hungry. So how are you guys going to approach that, do you think, in the playoffs?
Just one game at a time, taking it easy, and just playing the best basketball that we can together.
All right, Mike, great to catch up with you. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Corey Perkins is with us from Abington Heights, and it's your junior year. Let's talk about your role on the team. What does Coach expect you to do?
Yeah, they expect me to play the best defense, to my best abilities, which I know I can set it pretty high. And they expect me to get the ball to our scorers, George, Trey, Jack, just guys like those, and getting them open shots, and just doing everything I can, just taking care of the ball, and just making my shots my chance.
You say that you have some three-point ability as a shooting guard?
I've been struggling lately, but at times, when I'm feeling it, I'll definitely shoot it. I'll definitely shoot more.
As far as your family, you got two older brothers. Talk about your relationship, and we talked to one of your teammates and being the little kid brother, getting beat up a little bit in the sense of maybe playing some sports and losing a little bit and growing as a person. How about for you? Was it similar, where you felt like you really grew up from that experience?
Yeah, sports, it's been part of everybody in my family, so they were playing when they grew up. They had the same opportunities to play like I did, and they just taught me to be better than them and just to push myself a little more, just to do the best I can, really.
You like math and social studies in school. Talk about the academic part of being a student athlete and how much time you're putting into studies.
Yeah, school comes first, of course. Basketball's going to have Sunday, so I always make sure that I'm studying a little bit every day just doing my work in class, so I'm able to play this game.
Talk about your relationship with your parents and how much you look up to them and what they try to do to make things right for you.
Yeah, I mean, they sacrifice a lot for me, just giving me the opportunity to play like AAU and doing like things like that. So having them support me and giving me the opportunities to play the game, it's just really nice to have.
One of the things that Coach mentioned, Jackson Danzig last year with you guys, he knew every position. He was such a leader in that way, or he could help tell guys what they need to do. That's not around this year, so talk about other guys stepping up as leaders and filling that void.
Yeah, I mean, Trey came in this year with a completely different mindset since he wasn't able to be with us last season. He really stepped up. He's been showing me the way to just be more physical, that like the pace is faster now in high school. And so is George, and he's the leader of this team, so he's just been getting us through all like the adversity and everything like that on the court, and Jack as well.
All right, Corey, well, we wish you the best going forward, all right? Thank you. Trey Kohler joins us here on the John Mendola Show, senior season. Trey, you feel like you have something to prove this year?
Oh, yeah, I do, because missing out last season was kind of a heartbreak, so I just wanted to prove that I can still play basketball like I did 2 years ago.
Let's talk about the injury and getting through that and what that was like for you.
So I injured my foot in football season, and I didn't notice until basketball season, so then I played a couple of games and my foot just started really killing me, so I went to the doctor and they weren't sure what was really wrong at first. So then I went up to a doctor in New York and he found out that I had 3 stress fractures in my foot. So I had to get surgery for that. So then I did therapy for about 6 months, and then it was about like almost a whole year. It was about almost a whole year that I was out, so it was just like really like tough, and then like it just really showed me like how much I love the game of basketball and like how to be like really persistent about it.
Talk about the confidence when you first went on that foot, and then how it's been as the season's gone. You feel pretty darn confident now?
Oh yeah, because in the beginning of the year I was like super nervous for my games. Like first time actually like running on and like going like full contact, I was really scared. Like I didn't want to hurt it, so I was kind of baby in the beginning of the year, and like now it's like it's not even in my mind anymore.
Your role this year, talk about what coaches put on you and what you were able to learn from last year watching the game.
So I think my role is just to be kind of like a leader and like just play like good solid defense and like get the boards kind of, and like score when we need to score big points, and just be like kind of like a bigger role, because like since we don't have Jackson anymore, like kind of taking like his role over a little bit and just like being a good team player all around.
Got a couple older sisters. Talk about your relationship with them and them supporting you, I'm sure.
Yeah, my sister Paris, she's been a supporter since my day one, and she's always been there for me, and she's just like a really good sister. And then my stepsister Caitlin, she's also been a great supporter for me because she used to play basketball too. So like, and she tore ACL, so it's like she knows like how like the pain is and like going through like an injury like that.
Math, economics, business, couple subjects you like. You're doing well in school. You already know what that next step's going to be, so talk a little bit about where you're headed and why.
Oh yeah, I'm going to your science college, and I'm going to study economics. And I went down on a college visit there and just really love the campus, and I love the coaches there, so I just thought it was a great fit for me.
The relationship with your parents and coaches motivating you, you look up to them. Tell us, what role they all play in it.
My parents, first of all, are a major role model to me because they're always there for me. Like, they're always picking my head up when I'm down, and they just really helped me through my injury, and they're just always there for me. And then my coaches always make me feel part of the team. Even last year, like when I was out, they just made me feel such a big part of the team, and then they just always pick me up as well.
All right, Trey, I know you're probably pretty darn excited for this playoff run for 2018-19. Go get them, all right?
All right, thank you.
George Tinsley joins us here in the John Mendola Show at Abington Heights boys basketball at Arcaro and Genell. George, here we are, another run, but it's the final run for you, the senior season.
Yeah.
Let's go back to last year. What was that season like? Pretty darn special.
Oh yeah, I mean it was crazy. The feeling that you had, kind of going through states. You didn't know like with the opponents we're playing. We've never played these teams before, and it's kind of surprised every game. But I think like we kind of handled it very well, and all the way up until the point. I mean, we've been through a lot of adversity, that team, and we just pushed through it. And man, the after feeling was very good, honestly, because like the whole community, like you could tell that the whole everyone from Abington was at that game. When we went home, we had that parade, and it was just very heartwarming, I would say.
the injuries last year, your friend Trey Kohler, a tough situation for him. You guys were able to overcome all that stuff, which is a great feeling. But now you got to come in this year, a little more added pressure probably to you with Jackson moving on to the University of Scranton. Talk about welcoming that pressure and leadership.
Oh, well, I mean, I knew once he left I would have to kind of fill his role because he did a very good job of leading last year. And I took from him, I've been kind of taking, like since my freshman year, the captain's then, captain's sophomore year, and obviously last year I've kind of been taking from that and trying to make kind of take good points from all of them and kind of put my own into it. And I think I've been kind of doing pretty well this year. And I would say it is a lot of added pressure, but it's kind of like a pressure that you would want. You know what I mean?
The points that Jackson, the way he played the game, what he was able to give you guys offensively, other guys kind of had to fill that role. Some of that pressure probably goes to you as well. So talk about offensively, you guys kind of trying to distribute the ball, make sure everybody's getting their points that they need to do for you guys to win.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously when him leaving, some scoring goes with him because he's very good offensive scorer. And we knew coming in that we would have to kind of step it up offensively, without him obviously. But once we kind of sometimes we try to do this one-on-one stuff, and that sometimes works, but we really need to realize that if we go through our plays, and we'll just be able to because once we start getting in a mojo, we have people who you can have a good shot, but we'll pass it for an even better shot, or just getting layups all the time. And obviously defense really plays into getting our offensive shots too.
Talk about your coaching staff, coaching you guys up, always getting a little more out of you. What's your relationship with the coaches?
Oh, I would say it's very good. I mean, they've been my role models obviously since freshman year, and I've learned a lot from them. And it's really hard to explain what it's like to play for them, but they're just outstanding coaches. And
let's talk a little bit about the classroom stuff, math and science, some of your favorite subjects. You already know where you're going, Binghamton University. Talk about that process and why Binghamton.
Well, obviously I picked math and science. I don't really know why, but it's just always had that thing to it that I've enjoyed. Also not too good at English or social studies, so that goes along with it. But I chose Binghamton because I didn't really know whether I was what decision I was made, and then once I visited there, I knew from then on it was going to be my spot. Because I went there, and I mean the gym is beautiful. The people there are very nice. The coach was very nice, obviously, and everyone around him seemed very good. And the people there seem really nice. It's a lot bigger of a school than I thought it was going to be, which I also enjoyed. And I also had something towards management and business, which I could see myself going into.
Talk about those role models in your life that help you make good decisions as well.
Oh, well, my parents, I would not be here without them, honestly. They take me everywhere. They used to be able. They used to have to take me everywhere, and they pay for everything. Kind of the only reason I'm into what I am today.
As far as this year's feeling, where you're at in the playoffs, Coach had mentioned you guys are kind of underdogs, and now maybe the roles have reversed this year. How are you as a leader going to try to make sure you stay on top to the best of your ability, that you guys are hungry for 2018-19 playoff time?
Oh, well, I got to make sure that these guys realize that last year was last year, and this year it's going to be a lot different. We got to play our own game. So don't even think about last year. We're on a new track this year. It's everyone's 0-0 from here on out.
All right, George, we wish you the best. Great to catch up with you.
Thank you.
Jack Nealon with us here on the John Mendola Show as we continue the conversation with the Abington Heights boys basketball team. Jack, let's talk about your role this year on the team. What is Coach having you do?
Well, I am the point guard of the team, so just trying to get everybody involved. I mean, we got a lot of weapons offensively, so get those people the ball so they can do what they do best. And then defensively, just we play the zone, but when we play man, just try to stop them from penetrating in the middle and shoot when I'm open.
What do you feel like the difference between last year and this year? You feel like there's a little difference with this team, or a lot of similarities? What you were doing last year, obviously, losing Jackson was a big part.
Yeah, well, obviously Jackson is a big loss, but we filled with Trey coming back. We filled that void. I think what makes this year so different is being the defending state champs. You get everyone's best game. So there's a target on your back. So it's just that different preparation that we have to put in to make sure that we are always playing our best basketball.
Let's talk about the classroom, math and business, a couple of your favorite subjects, a 3.9 grade point average. You're not sure yet about college, but let's talk about the dedication in the classroom.
But yeah, obviously being a student athlete, the student part comes first. So you have to I put school in front of sports, and you just have to stay focused and don't get sidetracked, and make sure that you can do the best in the classroom so that sports become like a getaway from them.
Got a couple siblings, and your parents play a big role in your life. So let's talk about your grandparents as well. So talk about that whole family. Who's all involved in helping you make great decisions?
Well, it starts with my mom. My dad will be happy that I say that. So it starts with her. And then obviously my grandparents have a big role on me. They come to every single game. They influence my decisions a lot. And then having Drew, my cousin, and my middle brother Kyle on the team. So for my senior year, it's nice to be around, have my family around, and we stick together. We're all very close.
Let's see, is there a thing that you think your team or your coaches are saying, hey, we got to do this a little better now that the playoffs are coming around? What is something they're kind of harping on right now?
I'd probably say it's getting the best shot. I think we take a lot of very good shots, but sometimes some will force and not run our offenses through or efficiently. And defense, just trying to slow teams down. I mean, stop penetration in the middle, and if we can get some turnovers, get some easy baskets, then the offense will come.
All right, Jack, we'll go get them, and we wish you the best through the playoffs.
Thank you.